You're competing with him, you criticize him, you're trying to control him.
Yeah.
Now, he's going to realize that there's nothing he could do to make you happy, and he's going to check out eventually. So sometimes we have to be careful that we'll always take one energy too far. So yes, the success, but he wasn't aligned. It's really about alignment. As long as you're chasing, you lost.
Right.
You're no longer chasing,
Right.
You're attracting. Because of this world, we're so programmed on transactional things. We miss the mission in life. We're focusing on the prize, and we don't understand who we become, the process.
Right.
A bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul.
Today's conversation is one I've been really intentional about bringing to you because it's different than anything I've ever shared before. If you're a high-performing woman building a business, leading at a high level, and showing up for your family, you know the juggle. On the outside, it looks like success, but internally, something can feel still really misaligned. And what I'm learning is that strategy alone doesn't solve that, ladies. Over the past year, studying Kabbalah has completely shifted how I think, how I lead, and how I live. And I know today's conversation is going to be a game changer for so many of you that may not have heard this technology, these wisdoms, and these teachings before. So today, I am joined by Gedale Fenster, a globally recognized speaker and teacher who makes this wisdom practical, modern, and deeply applicable. If you've been craving more, not doing more, but more meaning in how you're doing life, this is the episode for you. Gedale, welcome to the Slay Your Day podcast.
So happy to be here.
I cannot wait to get into all this content with you today. I think that for this audience specifically, we are so used to, it's called the Slay Your Day podcast.
Right.
So
Nice.
we're used to talking about high achieving, high performance, and especially as women, there is kind of an ebb and a flow to how we show up in our personal lives
Right.
and in our professional lives. So I would love to start to dive into how do we, both in a practical sense
Right.
and maybe in a spiritual sense, what does that look like for us?
Beautiful. So sometimes, like for example, like we'll see like Michael Jordan, right? He had great ambition. He was driven because he had failure, and he became one of the greatest basketball players. But he had horrible relationships with his teammates.
Yes.
Right. So yes, the success, but he wasn't aligned with people.
Right.
So sometimes we have to be careful that we'll always take one energy too far. And I would say Kabbalah is like, for example, like an orchestra, and all of a sudden the organ player is playing too loud, the drum player is playing too loud, and everything's misaligned. But if there's if they're all aligned, there's an orchestra, and it's a beautiful sound.
Symphony, yeah.
Symphony. But if the one guy wants to rule, or two guys want to rule, it just becomes clashing and it ruins the whole symphony. So it's really about alignment.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So just like, for example, in a marriage or in a relationship,
Right.
to your orchestra example,
Exactly.
you kind of have to figure out the ebb and flow. And again, I'll speak even for myself here. In my marriage, my husband and I just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I think both of us as like high achievers, I personally have had to find my own kind of groove of, okay, when he comes home, there's just a different energy
Exactly.
than when I'm in my alpha run the business or take care of the kids mode. So what would you say to the women that are kind of going back and forth? Do you have any advice or maybe even different, like spiritually, like how do
Sure.
we shift?
I always say there's the engagement ring, there's the wedding ring, and there's the suffering. Or there's the engagement ring, there's the wedding ring, and there's the surrendering. Okay, so it's either we suffer or we surrender. Again, if you have, there's a big issue today, obviously, the polarity between men and women, right, today. It's specifically when men are not standing up, women have to stand, which they have no choice.
Right.
Otherwise, the whole house is going to burn down. So that's a case where if the guy's not stepping up, yes, you have to do what you got to do. But if you do have a masculine guy in the right energy, and he's trying, and you're not, and you're competing with him, you criticize him, you're trying to control him, then he's gonna realize that there's nothing he could do to make you happy, and he's gonna check out eventually.
Right.
So you have to be careful that you have to, like, again, go to work, do what you have to do at work,
Right.
but you have to know when to
Turn it off.
and that's something that's very hard for people to do, is to turn it off.
Yeah.
You know.
So have you found with maybe the patients that you work with, or even,
Sure.
with Kabbalistic practices, like how do we, because it's not going to happen overnight.
Correct.
Right. So I like to give practical tips,
Right.
advice
Sure.
on how we can maybe just start to make a transition.
So we also have to know exactly what our faults, what we're prone and what our faults are right away. Okay. For example, males struggle in this world is his sexual energy, using his sexual energy towards his wife, not going outside the marriage, not watching porn. That's his energy that he has to protect. If that's not protected, everything goes to south.
Right.
And women, her issues are really in honor and control.
Yeah.
Okay. So when that is not the right way, she'll compare, she'll criticize, etc. This is where Eve, she wanted to become hyper independent. So what happens?
Right.
At the end of the day, the whole place crashed.
Yeah.
So that's the source of it, the snake and Eve.
Yes.
We also know that the snake is going to go to Eve first. It's usually more the woman that will start up the argument. So she's got to work on letting go. These are Kabbalistic concepts.
Yeah.
These are not. This is just, you have to understand what you're dealing with.
Right. Well, when we can understand what the root is,
correct.
then it's easier to use the different technologies to work in our favor.
Yeah, Eve did not go to the man. Eve went to the woman, because she's rooted in honor. And what did she say? She said these famous words, "I want to be like God. I will rule." So that's that hyper independent curse.
Right.
And one of the curses that Eve got was now she would need a man. You get it? So because she tried to separate from man, her actual curse became, now you need a man.
Right.
So her being able to submit to a man, and I know this, this sounds maybe, what do you mean you want to submit to a man?
No, this is good. I love
Correct.
this.
I'm just saying, but today if you say that, you'll tell you toxic masculinity. This is the crazy nonsense that's happening. But yes, if the guy is doing his thing in his life, you have to, he wants to give. He wants to feel needed, he wants to give. So what happens is just like anything in life, where when a person doesn't appreciate something, a person stops giving.
Right.
Right? So, but if you appreciate him, and all of a sudden he will go out of his way to give you more. So you'll get more out of the person by appreciating him.
Yes.
That's how you become a receiver. So when you receive, you're actually a giver.
Yes. I have to tell you, I went really deep into your content about giving and receiving.
Yeah, which is huge.
One of the things that I did, thanks to Natalie, right before Passover, was setting intentions on like what I want this new energy to bring in for the year.
Very good.
And so what I wrote down was, I want to be able to completely get rid of, both personally and professionally, so in business and all my relationships, I no longer want to come from a place of I have to receive. Like, I want to receive to give to others.
Correct.
I don't want to, because I think a lot of times, and if you're operating at high levels in business, a lot of times it's transactional. I mean, it's business. But shifting into no matter what, again, with my kids, with my husband, with friends, clients, how can I just give because that's the space I want to be in?
Right. So giving means being aligned with what your creator wants.
Yes.
So your energetic level will be, and you'll be more authentic. Just like when somebody's authentic, and for example, a good example would be, let's say you went to Oscar de la Renta, you spent $10,000 on a dress, okay?
Yeah.
And it took you 25 times to fit it in. It was such a hassle just to even buy the dress, etc. But what are you expecting? You're expecting to go to the event and get 100 compliments, okay? You're already coming from a place of lack. You get it? So all of a sudden, you go to the dress, girls look down at you, look how much you spent to the dress. You end up fighting with your boyfriend. And at the end of the day, you spent 10 grand on a dress, and all you got is a fight with your husband, a fight with your wife, a $10,000 bill. Every girl hates you. So what did you get out of it? You got out of nothing because you went in as a receiver.
Yes.
But let's say you were just happy and you tried on a beautiful dress and you were just smiling and your energy was great.
Good.
People will give you 100 more compliments because you were yourself. You were more authentic.
Right.
Because your intention, like you said, your intention was, I want to be myself.
Right.
But the more we disconnect to the creator, the more we're dependent upon people. That leaves us now half of the gap. That means even if we get whatever temporary relief, temporarily receiving, you're now going to be left with double the gap.
Yes.
So now you're just chasing like massive validation, and it's basically a dead end.
So I want to tell you, since I've been studying Kabbalah, I have now learned, and it's good when you do it with friends because you can hold each other accountable.
Sure,
And
of
you
course.
and you realize as you're going through the challenges in your tikkun, it's a good thing. So I would love for you to just open up the door to let our listeners know what is tikkun, and also if we can kind of position it in a way where it's something that we look forward to because we know ultimately what it means.
So the tikkun is a place where you have the most challenges in your life. Just like, for example, if you look at, I don't know what sign what sign are you?
I'm a Taurus.
You're a Taurus.
Yes.
Okay, so the positive of the Taurus is you're loyal, you're dependable, you're driven, you're stable, etc. The negative part of your tikkun
Stubborn.
would be stubborn, would be too much into materialism. It could be, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
that is your nature, that's your
Right.
gravity, that's where you're going to be.
Sure.
So for you, your biggest tikkun would be to live a spiritual life and to not obsess about these things, accumulation, owning,
Right.
and just go above.
Yeah.
So any area where you struggle in, I'm a Scorpio, so my issue is when somebody hurts me, not to kill them, okay? Not to react,
I feel
not
like I
to
have
get
some of
angry.
that
Right, so that's my tikkun, is to work on my emotional intelligence
Yeah.
and to dismiss the messenger instead of focusing on the
Yes.
message. So we all have areas in our life that we actually came into this world, we signed the contract, that everything we would go through in our lives, and we agreed to the mission.
Yeah.
Nobody had their attorneys present. Obviously, nobody read the contract. So you come into this world, you say, holy crap, what the hell did I get into?
Right.
So the problem is now is, okay, you signed the deal, you signed the contract. And I always say that, life is like a very complicated gym membership with a zero cancellation policy.
Yeah.
So you can't cancel a mission.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, you can't cancel a mission. So you have to come into this world and you have to be able to have the best attitude
Right.
while you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's really how you fix your tikkun, is when you change
so
your
good.
attitude and you say, this is good. This is good for
No
me.
matter what.
This is
no
good.
matter what.
Correct.
Yes.
Because even though when I say this is bad, it's really my ego saying. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows that's where the amount of growth that you're going to have.
Right.
So because of this world, we're so programmed on transactional things. We miss the mission in life. We're focusing on the prize and we don't understand who we become, the process.
Right.
Which was actually one of the curses of the earth, was the fruit and the tree was one thing, and then the earth created a curse where the process and the prize became two different entities. So today, because we don't like the gap between the process and the prize, we're always
Right.
chasing the prize. We don't learn the process, and we get the same test over and over again.
Yes. Okay, can you go deeper there?
Yeah.
When we have to keep like over and over and over again. Because I'll tell you, when I first started, maybe I was a month or two into Kabbalah. And, I think I've heard something before, when you first start, like you'll see more miracles, but then you also start noticing all your tests.
Correct.
And I think I'd open up the refrigerator to get something and like, stuff just piles out and falls on the floor. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. Calm, cool, collected, clean it up. Then all of a sudden, something else spills or like cracks open on the floor. Okay, calm, cool, collected. Then my son comes out and the poor kid, he's 8 years old. He's trying to help me. He's dragging the trash bag across the floor. The glass cuts it and now it's all over the floor again. And I'm like, that was the third time. Darn it, I failed the test. So it was like
Right.
a pass, and a fail. And so part of me, just knowing and being aware, I was like, okay, I feel like, we're a lot further along now than I would have
Correct.
been. However, I still failed the test. I still failed because I
You
still
didn't fail the test, because I'll tell you what we think. We don't fail. We either win or we learn in life.
True.
Okay, so there's a bigger vessel coming. We never really fail. We
Yeah.
either win or we learn.
Yes,
That means
yes.
it's not that I failed. I prepared a bigger vessel.
Yes.
Think about, for example, if you look at very successful business people, what
Yeah.
they do is they fail fast, they fail often, because
Right.
they want to get the process going quickly.
Right. Yes.
Right? They don't spend time in the indecision.
Right.
Is it going to work? Is it not going to work?
Yeah.
Again, try it, break the vessel. So we want to
Right.
break the vessel as soon as possible, because indecision is the worst decision.
Yes. Yes.
So as long as you're going through the journey, you're going to end up picking up the appropriate sparks on the journey.
Yeah.
That's why when I'm doing business, right away, let's go, open it, let's
Right.
fail, let's test it, boom,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
get
boom,
in.
boom.
Just get in. Get in. Absolutely.
Yeah, get in.
Absolutely.
So
So
you
I
didn't
want
fail.
to.
Every single time something breaks, it means there's an expansion of the vessel.
Okay. So that's why we say it's a good thing. It's a good thing
Correct.
to get in there and
it's a good thing to have a good attitude of
Yes.
everything to realize, because when I say something is, again, the more you know in life, the more you realize you know nothing.
Yes.
So when you
Yes.
give something the wrong meaning, you're coming from a place of, that's the way you're seeing. How do you know that's not the greatest thing in the world?
Right. And even the biggest obstacles are opportunities.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so again, just like reframing the way that you see whatever is in front of you. Again, I want to tell you a personal story because I think that I want our listeners to hear how deep and transformative Kabbalah is. So over the past year, my mom and I have had an amazing transformation in our relationship. Growing up, I'm sure you can imagine a mother. Do you have daughters?
Yes.
Okay, so mother-daughter relationship, ours was a little challenging. However, after going through Kabbalah and understanding not just my side of it, but now kind of opening up the conversation to maybe there's another perspective that I'm missing.
Right.
It has brought us closer. It has not only repaired the relationship, but I understand her on such a deeper level. And I feel like it almost was like a rebirth. I've seen that in my, again, personal relationships. I get to go deeper with my husband, my kids, friends, clients. I mean, the ripple effect. That's why I wanted to bring you on today, because I want the listeners to really understand how powerful this is. But it's up to us. It's up to us.
Absolutely. So what you did is you stopped judging her. You started understanding her. Because judgment blocks love.
Yeah.
So the ego's first thing to do is judge.
Yeah.
Understand? And right away, that's a very reactive energy. So you
Right.
you become distant from the Creator.
Right.
So all of a sudden, when you all of a sudden you pause and you correspond with understanding, and I tell this all the time too. I own treatment centers.
Yeah.
And there's people there that that have relapsed many times, and they're still holding on to grudges. And I'm telling guys, you guys need mercy right now. You can't hold on to grudges.
Right. Let it go.
Correct. Let it go, because first of all, you have kids, and what do they think? What do they think about you? Do they know that, oh, mommy doesn't love me? No, mommy has an active addiction. That's why mommy can't give me the love I have.
Right.
So
Right.
parents can only give you what they have, and if they don't have to give it to you, it's like you wouldn't be upset if your father couldn't play basketball because he's handicapped. It's just people are limited. So as we grow older, we increase our consciousness. We understand more. We judge less.
Right.
And then changes.
Yes.
That's a transformation.
Yes. Thank you for that, because I think again, it's so powerful.
But you had to make the change yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You had to first. You dropped the judgment.
Right.
Because you got into a higher spiritual state.
Yeah.
You dropped the judgment. You created compassion, and then all of a sudden, she gets a ripple effect of what you get.
Yeah. And
Stan?
you know, I've been learning a lot about how your parents also affect your tikkun and your.
Yeah.
So could you actually go into that and explain? I think it's specifically also right with your mom and your dad, even grandparents.
Right. So there's some times in life where, for example, my parents got divorced at 8 years old. I came here from Colombia. Okay. So I was super driven.
Yeah.
Which led me to a gambling addiction, which led me to other things. Okay.
Yeah.
But once I realized I had nothing to prove to anybody, then you could drop it.
Right.
So we need to go through a painful experience to get the drive.
Yes.
Because if you're not driven, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
But then, once you hit to the mountain, you say, this no longer serves me anymore.
Yeah.
You get me? Like
Yeah.
Justin Bieber, a good example.
Yeah.
Right? He brought his younger inner child. So he healed the inner child. He let him go. There's no need to, you
Right.
don't need to perform anybody. That's it. You made it.
Right.
So that's healing. Where you can
Yes.
now say, okay, I don't need to become this driven, boss babe, critical.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve me anymore.
Right. Right. So
There's nothing to prove. And then you become authentic, and then you attract, you don't chase anymore.
which is okay. Can you say that again? You attract.
Once you
don't
become
chase.
more authentic,
Right.
which is connected to the truth and connecting in a higher consciousness, then you're no longer chasing.
Right.
You're attracting.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
attracting.
Can we just talk about how bedtime used to be for us? Oh my gosh, you guys, I was hanging off one side of the bed. My kids were laying sideways across the entire bed. And my husband, he was literally falling off the bed. Don't even get me started on the stiff necks. We were actually at the chiropractor more than we were sleeping. We just thought that we had to deal with it until we found Alaskan King bed. Now we can actually co-sleep without the kids kicking us all night long. Everyone has plenty of space, and my husband finally stays in the bed. And we all wake up feeling refreshed, like we actually slept the whole night, because we did. If you're a growing family like us, this bed is a total game changer. More space equals more snuggles, less stress, and so much more quality time. And that was the true reason why we fell in love with this bed. Trust me, you will never go back. So head on over to AlaskanKingBeds.com and use code SANDY for a discount. Wishing you and your family sweet dreams from my family to yours. Make sure you head over to AlaskanKingBeds.com.
And that is what I've seen where, I don't know if there's a word for it, but when you feel like everything's working out, they're all green lights, everything, that.
You're in flow.
Yes, in flow.
Correct.
That is something that I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, that has been one of the biggest things that has unlocked for me. Like my husband will be like, how do these things manifest for you? Like he's I'm slowly bringing him in to Kabbalah. And I think the more he sees it transformative in my life, in our life together, with so on and so forth, he's like becoming
open
more
to it.
Yeah. So, what would you say to people who maybe are already into Kabbalah that maybe their partner isn't, and they're trying to
It's
open that door?
Usually never will people be on the same page.
Okay.
They'll always, luckily, if they'll be on the same book and on a different page. It's always made that way.
Yeah.
Okay, it's purposely done.
Sure.
And the reason why is because the spiritual person is supposed to try to elevate the lower person.
Yeah.
Okay? But the problem is you have to be careful you don't look down at the person.
Yeah.
You have to, again, like you said, slowly. I'm
Right.
trying to bring him in. Not say, hey, why are you not
Forced.
religious enough? Why are you not spiritual?
Right.
You all you do is watch TV. All you will do is football.
All he does is work. No.
But I'm saying you're coming
Yeah.
in with a
Right.
slow.
Right.
You're not coming in this. All you do is this. You're neglecting me. This. You're not
Right,
coming in
right.
with judgment. You're coming in with
Love.
curiosity and saying, "Wow, this is making me a great person."
Yeah.
So obviously, when you say this is making me a great person, okay, what do you got?
Yeah. Yeah. It's more enticing.
Like
that
first, you
way.
got to take the peptides, lose the weight, get in great shape, and then could say, "Hey, what do you want?" If
Yeah.
you can't give peptide advice if you're
Right.
in terrible shape. And
Right.
Understand?
Right. Exactly. Well, I want to also dive into the next level ascension. Really part of life, because again, in my own personal experience, I think that number one, you have to be willing to want to do the work, and
Right.
number two, for me, the next level came once I was now understanding kind of how the game was played.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, you understood. You understood the spiritual laws.
So how do we, where do we start with that? How do we start to really play the game and really not play the game, but actually
Right.
practically, tactically make it work?
Right. So remember, this is really all about humility. Okay.
Yes.
It's not just playing a game and receiving and getting received.
Right.
How do I manipulate heaven to get the right code and
No.
receive? We don't want to do that.
No.
It's all about really having fear of heaven and having humility.
Right.
And humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less.
Yeah.
So when we become more humble, we can see
Yes.
challenges that come and we see they're good for us. So we're
Right.
more likely to let go. We're more likely to give the benefit of the doubt to the Creator.
Yes.
You get it? So that will allow us to be like the Creator and
Right.
allow us to, whatever's good for us to come, it will come to us.
Yes.
But the opposite is if you're doing this as you're trying to manipulate
Receiving.
the timing,
Receiving,
or
yeah.
you're trying to manipulate the form
Sure.
of things, which I'm going to come out with a book on the 10 steps on really how to go through a crisis
Okay.
and go into the light.
Amazing.
And not get into control, then you can draw that in.
Right.
But you have to do the whole thing is you have to do the inner work.
Inner work, 100%.
Because as long as you're chasing, you lost.
Right. Okay, so let's
You
think
lost.
about that for a minute,
You
because
lost.
the chasing versus
lost.
attracting
Correct.
is also a powerful part of it as well.
As soon as you're chasing, you're functioning from lack. Okay. For example, they say people say, how do I stop getting the evil eye? Like how do I prevent the evil eye? So for example, if I need to go put my watch on Instagram so I can get compliments,
Right.
I'm now in lack.
Right.
So my putting my watch on will create lack in others, and that can
Yeah.
give me an evil eye.
Yeah.
But if I like a nice car, I like a nice watch, and I'm not flaunting it, then sky's the limit.
Yeah.
But it's only when you want attention from people. It's only
Right.
when you're trying to be too needy,
Flashy.
too flash.
Yeah.
That's where
The evil eye comes.
the evil eye can come, and you actually, whatever you have is actually a curse.
Wow. Okay.
It's actually a curse.
So
it's all about having a relationship with things
Yes.
in life. It's your relationship to the things. There's nothing wrong with the things.
Right.
It's your relationship to it.
Yes, and the power that we give it.
Correct.
Okay. Amazing.
I'll give you a great thing I came up with. This is called WOW.
Okay.
Okay, so with money, for example,
Okay.
there's really 3 rules in money that if you focus on these 3 things, so you can't, number 1, you can't worry about it, because worry is showing that you don't trust.
Right.
You can't obsess about it, okay, and you can't withhold it.
Yes.
So that's any time that you're trying to go into something, you can't worry, or even let's say you're trying to meet somebody, you can't worry about it,
Right.
because it means you don't trust. You're going to come in with a very nervous energy.
Yeah.
You can't obsess about it, because anytime you obsess about something, nobody wants to be with somebody who's
No.
obsessed. Correct? And you can't withhold it. You can't withhold, because ultimately, let's say you want to. That's one of the biggest mechanisms for financial is to give charity. It's because now you're receiving to give.
Right.
You're always giving. You're just a channel for the light. You're just
Yes.
giving it out. So then, if you're just giving out the light and you have good intentions, your creator will give you thousands of things to say.
Yeah.
So those 3 things, if you anytime there's usually some kind of blockage, is because people are worried about it, they're obsessed about it, or they're withholding it.
That's so good. That's
Yeah.
a great acronym.
Yeah.
Can you dive into the four levels of receiving?
Sure. So this is the 4 levels of receiving. First, the first lowest level is receiving to receive.
Okay.
That's where you just come in as a massive taker.
Yeah. And everyone feels it, sees it.
Correct.
Like we know
Correct.
that.
Correct. That's where, gold diggers versus soul diggers. You understand?
Ooh, the soul digger. I
Yeah,
like that.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why I told you in dating, people need to dig for souls, not dig for gold.
Yes.
So the first level is receive to receive. The second is when you start graduating, because remember, we were all born to receive. And the Creator wants us to give us the maximum amount of pleasure possible. Okay? It's only when we can receive and be grateful and doesn't get
Right.
to your head.
Right.
If you don't receive well, it can actually kill you. So it's not, receiving
So
is
we
good.
we need to be more powerful, intentional receivers.
Yeah, of course,
Yes.
because that's the whole reason why you came into this world for.
Yeah.
Is to transform your receiving to you mimic your Creator.
Right.
So the second is giving to receive. So this is where you are, and again, we all have to go through these 4 steps. Nobody starts nobody starts
Right.
at the top. So the second level is now where you're giving, but your main intention is to receive. You have no real interest in, you're giving. I'm nice to this girl, so what happens? I can take her to dinner, et cetera, et cetera. I'm nice to this person, so I can get a deal out of them.
Right.
You're coming as still receiving
Yeah.
energy. Then you have to graduate, and then you have to go into giving to give. Giving to give is when you are passionate about something and you don't care about the results.
Yeah.
You have no idea. I love my podcast. I love giving class. I couldn't care less if people like it or don't like it.
Yeah.
It's my passion.
Yeah.
Giving to give, when you master giving to give, that means you can't be upset.
Right.
Many people will tell
Whatever
you.
the result is.
Many people will tell you no good deed goes unpunished. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
That's not giving to give.
Right.
That you gave
Right.
to receive.
Which is when you hear these things your whole life, if you grow up hearing them,
Correct.
it's again breaking these patterns.
Exactly.
So okay, I love it. So we have
Right.
the third,
The third is giving to give.
giving to give.
Which is that's where you are now in. You're trying to
No
master.
expectation.
You're trying to master the expectations.
Okay.
You're trying to just let go of the results. You let go of the timing. Let go of any expectations.
Yeah.
And the last, if you master giving to give, you graduate to be partners with the Creator. And that's where the Creator now uses you. He gives you. So it means you receive, but it's actually giving the Creator pleasure by giving you, by you receiving.
Yes. Yes.
You understand? Let's say you've mastered charity.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you give 10% of money away. So I need to go fund 10 organizations, but I know you're going to go give it.
Right.
So I'm going to use you to influence 10 to feed 10 families.
Yeah.
Because you've mastered giving to give.
Right.
So that's where that's where the place of unlimited.
Yes.
When people say, how do I get to unlimited? That's the place.
That's the place. So okay, so what I love this so much because, again, I went deep into this very recently, trying to really understand just on a deeper level how we can do this. So when you get to that level, right, because I mean, it could take you a couple days, it could take you years.
More than a couple days,
but I mean, it really...
Because you will get tested. You will get tested, and
Right.
you will give to, and then you'll be, it didn't happen.
Right.
How do you handle it?
Right.
How do you handle it? How do you handle prayer when you feel like you didn't get answered? Do you still go pray the next day, or do you stop? So most people really get stuck at giving to receive.
So interesting. I mean, I grew up in a family that my dad was always giving charities, the man on the street, like, and my mom would always say, why do people always come to you for certain things? And he just has, but also miracles happen for him multiple times every day. Because he came from a mindset of abundance and giving. And luckily, that was also passed down to myself and my brothers. And I think
That's where you got it. You probably got it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things that I'm so grateful for, that my grandfather was essentially an orphan. He created our family in the family that he always wanted. And so when he did that, part of that mindset was, I'm always giving back. And I think it just came naturally to them. But it's so beautiful when you see it happening. And
I think he practiced it. You get in life what you practice. So he practiced it. You have to be able to practice it.
And releasing what you said, like the expectation, like you're just giving because it's on your heart. It doesn't matter what that person might do with it or what happens next.
Correct.
But you're doing it because you're coming from, it's in your heart to do it.
Remember, this is the essential reason why you came to this world.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
You came to this world to transform your nature.
Yeah.
That's where Kabbalah tells you, hey, what's your mission? What did you transfer? Even, for example, you get bad news and all of a sudden you walk around with a good mood. You become a giver.
Wow.
You understand? You become a
That's
giver.
so good.
Even all of a sudden you would somebody, I always say a bad day for the ego is a good day for the soul. Somebody
good.
insults you and you get back and you forgive them for giving.
Yes.
Okay? Anything you transform your nature, you are now instantly a giver. The miracles are happening in tiny moments.
Wow.
It's not let's go to some conference for all day long. And this is something, that's why the podcast is so often, to remind yourself, okay.
Yes.
And remember, as we get to a new level, we get to a new devil. So it's not like you can master something and take a couple weeks off and I'm good. Next thing you know, here you go. Here's a new level. Here's a new devil.
I mean, I'll tell you, ever since I started, my soul every day, if I don't tap into it, I feel like I'm missing something.
Right.
So it's the little reminders. Again, it's like you get up, you brush your teeth every single day. These are things that it has to be a daily practice.
Correct. Especially for a Taurus. Because the Taurus, all they want to do is
we're intense.
Receive.
We go all in.
Go hide someplace by yourself and receive and make beautiful houses and forget the world. So for a Taurus to go and give and to spread their knowledge, it's against your nature.
Which is interesting.
Which is the opposite of a Taurus, is a Scorpio. So if you look at the North Node, which is if somebody has a baggage in Taurus, they have to go into Scorpio, which is the opposite. And Scorpio is all about giving and spreading light.
But so that's what I told you. That's what I wrote down as my daily focus, intention. And it really is so powerful when you set that intention of what you want to create, because you can't escape yourself.
No,
you can't escape yourself. So when you know that that's what you have to work on, you're reminded in certain parts of the day, throughout the day, where and how can I do this?
But again, you've gotten to a very high level of understanding. You can't expect. There's nobody to blame. It's easy to say, well, I'm not doing this because my husband's not doing it.
Right.
I'm not doing this because I heard that. I can give you 155 excuses why you're not working out.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, think about also when you constrict, you become a giver. Just the same way as, for example, let's say you go on a diet.
Yeah.
Or let's say all of a sudden you eat healthier foods. You're giving to your body.
Right.
So constricting the ego is really giving.
Yeah, that's amazing. What would you say to someone who's hearing this for the first time? That I think back to where I was a year ago, and how much transformation has happened in a year, and this is a forever evolution for me. What would you say to someone who's hearing this for the first time that might want to go deeper and start exploring?
If they're hearing you, I think there's something inside of them that wants to. There's a desire for better. Because otherwise they wouldn't be tuning. They would be watching the Real Housewives of I don't know, Atlanta or whatever. But the fact that they're listening to you is already that you've awakened a spark in them of some kind of curiosity.
Yeah.
You get it? So that's already good.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of garbage to listen to.
Yes.
So that's already a good sign. And then as you start, if you start growing, you start developing an appetite, and that's how you develop a vessel.
Yeah.
So it's a sign that, and people could take things two different ways. People could say, "Oh, I got triggered," or I could say, "Wow, you know what? That bothers me. You're right. I'm not giving enough." It's how they take it.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's one final piece of advice that you can leave with our listeners today, knowing that these women are high achievers, high performers, they want to give to their families, to their communities, they're all leaders.
Right.
What's one piece of advice that you could leave with them today?
Don't let success get to your head, and don't let failure get to your heart.
I love that.
I would say that.
I love that.
Don't let success get to your head, because at the end of the day, 1 minute your creator can flip everything around.
That's right.
So and obviously work on knowing how to. You got to win in the road, and you got to win at home also.
Yeah.
And the way you win at home is by being grateful.
Yes.
By being grateful.
Yes.
And even if, for example, you worked hard and all of a sudden, your husband comes home and he needs a hug, do it. It's not.
All the husbands are going to love this podcast.
Yeah.
Ladies, send this to your husbands.
So I'm saying that's because all of a sudden it's not just about you.
Right.
It's about somebody else in the
Right.
house. And then you'll see when you have peace, that blesses everything. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have more peace by being aligned than by doing more.
Yes.
It's an alignment issue. It's not about doing. You don't need to
So
do.
good.
You need to do less sometimes.
That is
and
so
connect to
good.
the light.
That is so good. And honestly, I think that's why this has resonated with me so much, because for so long it was do more, go more, be more,
It's
achieve
opposite.
more.
It's even the Jews, what they do, they're told to take the Sabbath off.
Yeah.
Okay, why would you take the Sabbath off? It's because the Sabbath is the day of receiving. What do you need to work for?
Yeah.
Just like, for example, you're a bodybuilder, you work out, sleeping. Why are you not in the gym? Because sleeping is where the muscle grows.
Recovery.
So recovery is, there's the spiritual recovery, mental recovery. Do we have enough of that? Or we go.
Right.
No, you need to recover.
It's so good. And we all need the reminder. We
Yeah.
all need
Always,
the reminder
always,
because
always.
there's always another thing to do. There's
Sure.
always another checklist, someone else who
Sure.
needs you. But if you can actually use that as a superpower and realize you just pause, which is a whole nother topic of conversation, but to pause and to actually know that you're using that to your advantage, to just receive.
That's why the book is called Surrender.
Yes. I would love for you to share also.
Surrender and win.
Surrender. Yes. Let's talk about it.
Surrender and win.
Tell me about surrender.
Well, what's the opposite of not surrendering? Controlling.
Control.
Correct, which is what edges guide out. So the less control, when I control something, that means I have fear. And what happens is you constrict you constrict miracles in your life when you control them.
Yep.
You limit the creator. When you surrender, you create everything. Everything comes to you.
So how do you surrender?
I surrender by realizing I know nothing. And if it's something that I don't understand, I go into faith.
That's
I go
amazing.
into faith. Surrender is a daily concept.
I love this. I have so much more to learn and to go deeper with you. I
Amazing,
appreciate
amazing.
you so much
My
for
pleasure,
being here,
my pleasure.
opening up this wisdom to the Slay Your Day community. I hope to have you back so we can go even deeper.
Amazing, amazing.
Ladies, as always, make sure you go out and slay your day. And where can they grab Surrender?
Amazon.
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 We'll
The
put all the links.
podcast is on Spotify, Instagram, all that stuff.
Amazing. We'll put all the links below.
Great. Amazing.